Family dinner at the Martinez house was always an exercise in endurance, but tonight was different. I sat quietly, pushing my mother's paella around my plate while my sister Elena dominated the conversation as usual. And then I told the client that our firm is the top advertising agency in Chicago, Elena was saying, gesturing with her wine glass. Being creative director at Stewart Brooks really opens doors. Mom beamed with pride. Mi hija brillante. Always knew you'd do great things. I took another bite, remembering all the family dinners just like this one over the past 3 years. Elena's endless accomplishments. My parents' worried glances at their struggling younger daughter. What about you, Carmen? Elena turned to me with that familiar patronizing smile. Still doing that little freelance thing? Just working on some projects, I said neutrally, thinking of the papers I'd signed that morning. Oh, pobrecita, Elena sighed dramatically. Must be hard not having a real career at 30. You know, I could put in a word for you at Stewart Brooks. Maybe get you started in the mailroom. Dad cleared his throat uncomfortably. Elena. No, really, I want to help. Elena pressed on. Poor thing, still struggling after all this time. Remember when you said you were going to revolutionize digital advertising? She laughed. How's that working out? Before I could respond, Elena's phone rang. She glanced at it and sat up straighter. Sorry, have to take this. It's work. She answered with her professional voice. Elena Martinez speaking. I could hear the voice on the other end clearly in the sudden quiet. Ms. Martinez, the owner wants to see you first thing Monday morning. Elena frowned. The owner? But Mr. Stewart is in London this week. No, ma'am. The new owner. The paperwork was finalized this morning. Stewart Brooks has been acquired. I stood up, pulling out my own phone. That would be me. The room froze. Elena's phone slipped from her fingers, clattering onto her plate. What did you just say? Elena stammered, her perfectly maintained composure cracking. I pulled up the documents on my phone and slid them across the table. Innovative Digital Solutions, my little freelance thing, acquired Stewart Brooks this morning for $380 million. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. Dad leaned forward, adjusting his reading glasses as he stared at the papers. This is impossible, Elena said, her voice rising. Stewart Brooks is Chicago's largest ad agency. You couldn't possibly have the resources? I finished for her. Actually, IDS has been the silent force behind the top-performing digital campaigns for the past 2 years. Those projects I've been working on? Major contracts with Fortune 500 companies. But I would have known. Elena protested. I'm the creative director. You're the creative director of traditional media, I corrected gently. The digital division reports directly to corporate. You never bothered to learn who was behind those campaigns, did you? Dad was still reading the acquisition papers, his eyes widening. Carmen, these numbers. Would you like to see the quarterly reports? I offered, pulling up more documents. We've grown 300% year over year. That revolutionary advertising platform I developed? Turns out big companies will pay a premium for guaranteed results. Elena grabbed the papers, scanning them frantically. This has to be a joke. You've been living in that tiny apartment, driving that old car. Living below my means, I nodded. Investing everything back into the company. While you were buying designer clothes and luxury cars, I was building something. Mom reached for my hand, her eyes glistening. Mi amor, why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? I asked softly. Every time I tried to explain what I was doing, Elena would talk over me about her latest promotion or her corner office. Just then Elena's phone buzzed again. She stared at it in horror as messages started pouring in from her colleagues. The announcement just went company-wide, I explained. They're probably all wondering who Carmen Martinez is and how she managed to buy the company. This isn't fair, Elena whispered, her hands shaking. I've worked there for 8 years. I earned my position. And you can keep it, I assured her. I'm not here for revenge, Elena. The company needs good creative directors. But maybe now you'll understand that success doesn't always wear designer labels or come with a corner office. The silence at the dinner table was deafening. Mom had gotten up to fetch more wine, probably needing a moment to process everything. Dad was still poring over the acquisition documents, occasionally muttering numbers under his breath in disbelief. Elena sat frozen, her paella untouched as notifications kept buzzing on her phone. Each one made her flinch slightly. "Monday morning," I said, breaking the silence. "9 a.m. sharp. I'll be addressing the entire company. You can't just walk in and change everything." Elena finally spoke, her voice barely controlled. "We have systems, protocols, client relationships." I pulled out my tablet, opening a presentation. "You mean like the Thompson account? The one you're about to lose because their Gen Z engagement numbers are dropping?" Elena's head snapped up. "How did you?" "I've had access to all company data for the past month during acquisition due diligence," I explained. "Your traditional campaigns are solid, Elena, but they're not reaching younger demographics. That's why Thompson's been meeting with other agencies. We have a pitch meeting with them next week," she said weakly. "I know. And I'll be there." I scrolled through more data. Along with my team, that increased client engagement by 175% across all digital platforms last quarter. Dad finally looked up from the papers. "Carmen, these profit margins, they're unprecedented in the industry. Because we don't just create ads," I explained. "We built an AI-driven platform that predicts consumer behavior and adapts campaigns in real time. Those little projects I was working on? Testing and refining the algorithm with some of the biggest brands in the world." Mom returned with the wine, her hands still shaking slightly as she poured. "But Majita, all those times you came to dinner looking tired, worried about paying rent, was when I was reinvesting every penny into development," I finished. "Living in that small apartment meant I could hire top engineers. Driving that old car meant I could acquire cutting-edge servers." Elena's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it and went pale. "The CEO of Thompson just emailed me, asking about the ownership change. They've been quietly testing our platform through a subsidiary," I revealed. "Their engagement numbers increased 200% in 3 months. That's why they're really meeting next week, to move all their advertising to us." "But that's a $50 million account," Elena whispered. "We'll be closer to $80 million with the digital integration," I corrected. "And they're just the beginning. Remember last month when you laughed about my trip to Silicon Valley? I was meeting with tech giants about implementing our AI across their advertising networks." Dad reached for his wine glass with an unsteady hand. "All this time while we were worried about you." "I was building an empire," I nodded. "Just not in a way that looked impressive at family dinners." Elena stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "I need some air." "Sit down, Elena," I said firmly. "There's more you need to hear." She sank back into her chair, looking defeated. "Starting Monday, Stewart Brooks becomes part of IDS Global," I continued. "We're restructuring into specialized divisions: traditional media, digital innovation, and AI development. Each division needs a strong leader." Elena's head snapped up. "You're good at what you do, Elena," I acknowledged. "Your traditional campaigns win awards for a reason. I'm offering you the chance to lead that division, if you can accept that you'll be reporting to your little sister." The room was silent except for the constant buzz of notifications from various phones. The news was spreading through the industry like wildfire. "Why?" Elena finally asked. "After how I treated you, why offer me anything?" "Because unlike you, I don't measure success by how many people I can look down on," I replied. "I measure it by how many people I can lift up, even those who never believed in me." Mom wiped tears from her eyes. "Your father and we should have supported you more." "You supported Elena because her success was easier to understand," I said gently. "Corner offices and fancy titles make more sense than algorithms and digital innovation. I get it. But maybe now you'll understand why I kept saying the future of advertising isn't in glossy magazines, it's in predictive AI and real-time adaptation." My phone buzzed, a message from my executive team. "The press release is going live in 5 minutes. Major tech publications are already requesting interviews." Elena was staring at her hands. "All those times I offered to help you, tried to get you entry-level positions, you were already running a company bigger than Stewart and Brooks. Ironic, isn't it?" I smiled slightly. "While you were offering me a mailroom position, I was negotiating the purchase of your entire company." Dad cleared his throat. "Carmen, we've been so wrong." "Yes, you have," I agreed. But that's the past. Right now, I need to know if Elena is ready to be part of the future. Monday morning, I'm announcing the new structure. I need an answer before then. Elena looked up, tears in her eyes. All these years, I thought I was so much better than you. You were better at playing the traditional game, I acknowledged. But I was busy changing the rules. So what's it going to be? Will you adapt, or should I start interviewing other candidates for division chief? The press release hit at that moment. All our phones buzzed simultaneously. Elena picked hers up, reading the headline. Tech prodigy Carmen Martinez acquires Stewart Brooks in $380 million deal. Revolutionary AI platform promises to transform advertising industry. She set the phone down slowly. I'll need to see the reorganization plans. I pulled out a folder I'd brought with me. Already prepared. Including your new compensation package. Elena's eyes widened as she saw the numbers. This is triple my current salary. Success pays well, I said simply. Especially when you're on the right side of innovation. Mom started clearing the dishes, her hands still shaking. I'll make coffee. I think we all need it. Make it strong, I suggested, pulling out more documents. Because we're going to be here a while. Elena needs to understand our new direction before Monday's announcement. As Mom headed to the kitchen and Dad continued studying the acquisition papers, Elena looked at me with new eyes. How did you do all this without any of us knowing? I leaned back, allowing myself a small smile. By understanding something you never did, dear sister. True power doesn't come from telling everyone how successful you are. It comes from being successful while they're too busy underestimating you to notice. Just then all our phones buzzed again. Stock prices were already moving in after-hours trading. Stewart Brooks was up 40% on news of the acquisition. But IDS Global, my company that was previously unlisted, was making headlines with its IPO announcement. Elena stared at her screen. You're taking the company public? Monday afternoon, I confirmed. After the merger announcement. Initial valuation is set at $2.8 billion. The sound of shattering ceramic came from the kitchen. Mom had dropped a coffee cup. Maybe we should switch to decaf, I called out to her. After all, we have a lot to discuss, and Monday morning. I looked directly at Elena. Comes sooner than you think.